Hey everybody, welcome to the Brainal podcast. This is episode 48. It is November 9th, 2016. Why did I put October? I'm your host, Jepi Condile.
And this is Mr. Giggles. What's going on?
Giggles, this is, as far as I know, the first episode. It's just the two of us.
It's so romantic. I love it.
I think if you play your cards right, we actually might start a friendship.
That's definitely not gonna happen. Way too high of an expectation.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Why don't we? It's been a minute since you were on, and why don't we just catch up as far as what you've been playing? So what's been in your rotation recently?
Okay. Well, as we all know, with Final Fantasy 15 on the way, I'm trying to clear out some old games. So I finished Uncharted 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, just let's discuss that. We'll be because I still think there are some people out there that have not beaten it, so I think we should be as cryptic as possible without spoiling. But just in case, if we accidentally spoil something, this is your spoiler alert warning.
It's Jepi's fault. It's Jepi's fault.
So, yeah, that's right, because I think we briefly talked the other day, and yeah, that's right, because you mentioned Tomb Raider. We'll get to that. But please tell me what you thought of Uncharted.
Okay, so I was kind of expecting something a little different coming with the fourth installment of the game, knowing it was kind of like the final end story.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously beautiful, looked amazing, which is no less than what I would expect from Naughty Dog. Story was really good. The ending, which I won't say anything specific about the ending, but the ending of that game made me feel like a 10-year-old watching, like, the end of a beautiful story. I'm trying to think like a movie. Like, it's like watching the end of Sandlot.
Wait, are you referring to
the end of...
the ending before the credits or after?
After.
Okay, I got you. The epilogue.
So yeah, let's go with the
beach.
epilogue. So the beach.
Okay, gotcha.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. It was great. What do you think of the? I'm very curious. Compared to the other Uncharted games, what do you think of the final boss battle?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think because I ended up staying up until 6 o'clock in the morning to beat it because I was so close.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty good. To me, it didn't feel like the epic. And maybe it's just me. It felt like a really good fight, and I felt like once again it was very movie-esque, but it didn't overwhelm me. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like
Here's
I finished some epic thing.
How long has it been since you played the other Uncharted's?
I would say it's... I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Released?
Yeah, I want to say I beat Uncharted 3 within 8 months of it being released. So it's been a little while.
Okay, yeah. So, to get ready for Uncharted 4, I played the remastered trilogy. So I played them all in a row. So it was very fresh in my mind. And I think Uncharted 4 had the best final fight because in a couple of the other games, the final fight had a supernatural quality to it. I did not like that at all. I don't know if you remember, I think it was Uncharted 2, you played against this commando guy, but he kept drinking the sap from the Tree of Life.
From the
And he,
Tree of Life, yep.
yeah, and it felt so video gamey to me. I don't like video game feeling final boss battles, and I liked how this one there was nothing supernatural about it. It couldn't get more pirate than it did there. I liked how they had new mechanics with the how you would fight in that. That you didn't use at all in the rest of the game, but the setting was so beautiful. I felt like I was in that room, and everything was going
Yeah.
crazy, and I felt like it was a personal fight, and I didn't feel like Nathan was again. Just please, if you don't haven't played it, if you're gonna play, don't listen to what I'm about to say. But I feel
I
like
told you it was going to be your fault. I so said that it was going to be your fault.
but usually Nathan, he's running from something, but it was straight up one versus one, and it was awesome. And I hated that villain so much. Like I love to hate him that I thought it was so well done. Me personally.
I know. I have to agree with
Yeah,
you.
I, I,
100%.
I, I if you watched or if you replayed just the final boss battles of the other ones, I think it might give you some perspective as to how cool Uncharted 4's fight really was. Um, but my other question, I don't want to talk too much about Uncharted 4, but goes back to the original predicament you were in. Do you feel like this was um, a justified game, or do you feel like this game really does belong and should have been made?
Alright, so I'll be honest, and this isn't spoiling anything, but we already said there's an epilogue to the game after the credits.
Hmm.
So if you are playing and you haven't beat it yet, don't turn it off once you get to the credits because there is more. Uh, but in all honesty, to me, I didn't know if they needed another one until um, they did the epilogue. For
Yeah.
me, don't get me wrong, it was a great game. I mean, I still unfortunately didn't feel like they had fixed some of the nuances that I've had with the ones in the past, but I felt like the ending, the epilogue, we'll call it the beach, was perfect. Honestly, if they had just released the DLC that was just the beach alone, um, I might have still been okay with it. Don't get me wrong, I loved Uncharted 4, but just that, what is it? No more than 20 minutes, probably tops.
The epilogue?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't even remember how long it was.
I don't think it's more than 20. I mean, I think because I explored a little bit, but no more than 20 minutes, and it was probably one of the greatest endings to, I'll say, hero's story that I've probably witnessed.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
And I
I
don't
don't
even.
think the other three games got into Nathan as much as it did the legend that he was chasing. I did appreciate in three how it did show how he met Sully and kind of solidified their relationship a little bit more. But I loved how this was about Nathan and his brother. I loved his brother. Who's voiced by Troy Baker for the record. So if those of you don't know, in Last of Us they swapped roles, right? Troy Baker was Joel and Nolan North was his brother, and they switched roles here. And
Oh, that's funny. I did not know that.
yeah, they they I thought that whole game was so great, and the epilogue. I love those slow moments. Like remember when they're playing Crash Bandicoot, and the idea that I didn't really get any closure from Uncharted 3, and I felt like I got closure on this one. Now they might make more games. I don't know. There are rumors that it might be you might play as his brother, or maybe who you play as in the beach. But let me put it this way: at this point, if they decided to not make any more Uncharted games, I feel like I got a nice complete story, you know. And the only thing I wish they would have changed is I wish they would have known they were going to make a fourth game, and I wish they would have teased his brother more in the previous games. Because
Yeah,
like all of a sudden, like, oh, his brother is a big deal now, But I
yeah.
wish he would have mentioned his brother in
I
the other games. So we're like, oh, we finally get to meet him in this game. So it really felt like it belonged to begin with.
if
But
you if you remember when we spoke when they announced it Uncharted 4, so you're going back, well over a year and a half. We were saying one of my big things was I was concerned about how they were going to bring the brother into the mix.
yeah, but you knew that he was gonna have a brother, right? Or
Um,
did you not know Uncharted 4? Oh, then maybe they did mention a brother. I don't remember it.
no, 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 no. Like I knew that before Uncharted 4 came out, when they announced the game and they had talked about it a little bit, I knew that his brother he had a brother in the story. Um,
Okay,
Not because of the prior games, but because it's something they talked about in the trailer and stuff with this game.
gotcha.
And my concern was the fact that they never really talked about him before. That, you know what I mean? It kind of felt
Yeah,
like
it
they were
felt
going to
like it
make a
was shooting.
character just to make another game.
Yeah, that's the main criticism I have. That's why I wish they would have mentioned him. I wish they would have had the foresight of mentioning him earlier on. You know.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of agree. It would have been nice if, like, in when they did the special editions, the ones that you played, that they had
A
added
little
in.
extra.
Yeah, like just not like a scene or anything like that, but just something to hint at it.
Yeah, yeah,
And um, I'll say that for the fact that they obviously didn't plan on having a fourth. I think that having the way they did it, which I won't talk about because that's going to spoil stuff, was very done. It was done very well,
yeah,
but I still think it hurts it only in the sense that you know that he wasn't really a part of the picture until the fourth game.
yeah. Um, I enjoyed the fourth game so much. I enjoyed the first three, but I enjoyed the fourth game so much. It's kind of hard to go back because the first three kind of feel a little archaic to me now, gameplay wise or mechanic wise. Um, but I really liked his brother's character a lot. I really liked, even though he had that little backstab. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Um, I really liked that he really, you could tell his brother loved Nathan. He really cared for him.
the one thing, and I said this before, that I've really liked is it's very movie esque, and they're very good about their scripts.
Very good,
And
yeah.
the one thing that I love, I'm a big cutscene fan, and you know that. I'm a big story fan. Me and you have talked about that a lot with different games, how we might have wanted more of this or more of that, and
We're in a cutscene right now.
and that's how I kind of felt was they made it so personable, and um, I felt like once again it's one of those things that I love playing through it because I feel like I'm playing through a movie, and everything's so beautiful, everything's so vivid. Uh,
Yeah, and they learned a lot as far as pacing and script writing with The Last of Us.
they
You could tell.
they did, and not only that, but they made you care. Like the one thing that Naughty Dog's been very good at, and a lot of games, I have to say, this is something new that they've been doing. I think because the technology and the writing is there, is when they make like, and I know we're gonna talk about Tomb Raider in a minute, but they do the same thing where the character kind of talks to himself or herself, or there's two characters and they're kind of squibbling back and forth. You know what I mean? Like when you're playing and there's an NPC with you and they're talking to one another.
Oh, I thought somebody was talking to himself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, even
Oh, yeah. So you'll be going through a level. It's actually gameplay, not a cutscene. So
yeah,
somebody would just be with you in the banter they have.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So or like there are scenes and they've done it in Uncharted 3 where like Nathan's by himself and he'll go to like you know jump or something and he'll make a comment like whew, oh like thank God, you know what I mean, like it
Yeah.
it makes it like okay, like oh
I get it.
he actually yeah, exactly, like he actually gave him he cared because he didn't want to die. I just like
Yeah.
little things like that. It makes it makes the character come to life for you.
I love the remember when they were, what's the name of that town? Is it Libertalia? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I loved it when they got into the run down Pirate City, but you could, you go in that little tavern and you sit down, and you have a drink with each other, or not a drink, but you just look over the view.
Spoiler alert for anyone playing. But
Again, they know not to listen to this. No one's listening
but
anyway.
it's a
It's a
cutscene.
cutscene.
Um,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, we can go on and on about
yeah,
Uncharted.
very
But
much
I'm glad you
enjoyed. I
liked it.
thought it brought. I'll be honest. If they tried to bring him back in some way, I don't know if I would play it. To be honest, I'd want them to take the series in a whole different direction if they were going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they left themselves enough room,
Agreed.
enough wiggle room to take many possible directions with it. But cool. Can we actually let's hold off on Tomb Raider for a little bit later in the conversation, and I'll explain why. But what else have you been playing?
Um, I've been playing a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, nice. I just
Uh,
got that for the 3DS.
oh, you're
Oh
talking
wait, no,
about
no, no, not X, the
the
original one.
regular one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been playing the new one. Um, I'm kind of. It's amazing because the world's so big. It makes it kind of difficult to steer you in a direction.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been semi glitchy. I've actually taken a break from it because I've gotten kind of mad.
Yeah.
Um, outside of that, it is beautiful, great game. Storyline seems to be pretty good. It's a JRPG, so there's a lot of building and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously Destiny is pretty much a staple.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually the Division, I've been kind of playing with that a little bit too because of patch 1.4. Which of those who have played Division in the past, patch 1.4, they basically scrap the entire mechanics of the game from your skills, gear, um, I'll say weapons because technically gear is like your armor, and basically how you play the entire game, and they've redone the entire thing. So
Wait, you
it's been
mean?
very interesting.
Oh wait, are you saying you don't have to be a certain level to equip a certain gun?
No, what they did was they realized how horribly broken some of the systems were and the balancing of weapons and gear. And so what they did is instead of continuing their expansions and making edits, they kind of did what Destiny did, but more extreme, where they kind of revamped the entire level system.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically for anything, once you hit the max level, they redid it for. But they also revamped how your skills affect you, how your stats work, and they also have you ever played Diablo or anything like that?
Nah.
Okay, so Diablo works on a tier world system. So let's say you hit the max level, right? When you first start, you don't have the best gear. You just hit max level. What they did is they tiered the world. So for example, if you're just starting out as an end game, you do like tier level 1. You get some better gear, you go to tier 2, tier 3, and so on and so forth. Well, what they did in Division is the same deal. Is now based on how your gear score builds, it makes you eligible for the next tier. Each tier gives better rewards, and from my understanding, I think even more rewards.
Hmm.
So I've been kind of playing with that mechanic. I've been kind of checking that out. I'll have more probably on that the next coming few weeks while I kind of dabble.
Cool, cool.
Of course, once Final Fantasy 15 comes out, I'm pretty much dead to the world.
November 29th.
Yep. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Anything else?
Uh, no, I've got to say that's about it for right now.
Gotcha. I really haven't been. I'm probably missing out on something. I can't even think about what I've been playing. Um, I don't know, just a little this, a little that. I can't even think right now. What I wanted to talk about, I want to get in some news. Now this first piece of news, when I saw this story, say
Oh,
it
I'm gonna
again.
be really excited because you're gonna be. You sound really excited.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing.
That's a yes.
Normally, this piece of news would get me very, very excited, but because of the nature of what Brainal's been doing, this got me like, oh god, I thought I was done with this. Last week, last weekend or whatever, it was announced that there's another character coming out for Street Fighter Five, and it's Akuma. And normally I'll be very excited. I really enjoy me some Akuma, But because we've done Brainal backstories, which each of these Giggles, I don't know if you know, but it takes to make one of these videos.
Oh,
I
it
want
takes
to say
forever.
it takes a good at least double digit hours for one video. And even for a character that doesn't have much backstory, Akuma has a very detailed backstory. So once I saw this, I was so okay. We were done with this first season pass this year of DLC characters. You know, we did all of them except Alex because we started doing the videos after Alex, who was the first DLC character, and we've been getting very good response on YouTube with them. And I did most of the videos. Frozen did one for Jury, so he knows how much work goes into him. He did a great job, by the way.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
once we
Frozen.
got, huh?
I said, yeah, Frozen.
Really? Once we got Urian out, and I knew Urian was the last announced character for the first year, I thought I had at least. Oh, that makes sense. No wonder. Okay. Because I'm like, okay, year one's done. I'm like, I thought I had at least a good 6 months or whatever till we heard anything else yet, but I forgot Street Fighter V came out in February,
Yeah,
and it's almost coming up on a
yeah.
year now.
You're good. You're good. Smart move. Glad you did the math
Yeah,
there.
so I gotta do math. Um, oh my god, it's gonna just more anyway. So I'm gonna have to do more backstory videos. But you know, I was thinking that I think we should do more Brainal backstory videos. It's our best videos as far as response. I think I'm gonna start doing it for Overwatch too. Um, that's gonna be a pain in the butt, I think, but I think it'd be worth it if I do it slowly. But yeah, Kuma's been announced. He's gonna be the playable at the PlayStation Experience that Sony holds every year, open to the public, which is cool. We won't be going, and which segues into a new Overwatch character announced, Sombra.
Sombra.
So I might start doing a video for her. We'll see. Um, I think she's I don't think she was released on PC yet, but they always come out to PC first. But she's a kind of a hacker who can go invisible and hack things. Pretty much all I know. She has an EMP um, ultimate. Looks pretty cool. Her animated short was okay. I mean, it wasn't as emotional as some of the other ones, but it seemed to drive a bigger story forward, which is pretty cool. Um, so that's that.
I, I,
Let's see. Yo,
so just to add on, uh, I heard rumors, and I can't confirm where I heard this from because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I did hear something about like a mini series. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
I only remember hearing Dark Horse Comics doing a comic series for Overwatch, but this is a while ago.
Okay, I did hear something I read. I couldn't tell you where. There's been some. I think it was almost like a YouTube kind of series thing, but something which, to be honest, I think the mechanics, the game looks. I love the backstories for all the characters. I've watched all the videos. I played a bit. I kind of fell off the radar with it. I was kind of disappointed there wasn't. I didn't feel anything to keep me there, and I wanted a story. I thought there was going to be one. Um, but I think that world is so incredible.
That game deserves its own hour and a half, 2 hour movie.
To be honest,
I
to
would watch
do,
the
which
crap
is
out
funny
of it.
because I don't play the game, but when I watched all the videos about all the characters, I felt like I was like, I want to know. I want to know what happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. The game world is incredible. The lore is really cool, fairly in depth for what I understand. And the gameplay itself is fun. It's something that I occasionally go back to. You know, when I'm done playing Destiny, if I'm sick of it, I'll play Overwatch, go back and forth. Um, it's a nice palate cleanser. But if you think about it, playing the game modes in game makes no sense with the lore because you're in these environments, but you know, how do you explain Tracer on the same team as Reaper, who's fighting against another Tracer and Reaper? You know, it doesn't make sense. Um, but I don't. Did you play when they had the Halloween thing going on at all?
No, I know
No.
of the
Okay.
Halloween, but I didn't play it.
It was actually pretty cool. I think.
It
Yeah.
got a great response. I just didn't play it.
Yeah, and I realize what the longevity of the game is. It's seasonal things to grab people back. I don't think I know there are hardcore Overwatchers that are amazing, but I think Blizzard knows realistically that they don't think this is going to be the end all be all game that kind of like Bungie was going with Destiny. I don't think it will reach Destiny levels, but they know to occasionally, not every time, but just occasionally change it up a little bit to bring people back. I think that's smart.
Well, Blizzard, and this is something that they do very well, is they're very good at handling multiplayer. When they announced, I'm sure you heard they announced the league and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and they're very good at building tournaments and getting that. But the problem is that your player base drops very quickly because it gets very competitive and it doesn't change. Like with StarCraft, which is StarCraft is a huge competitive game for them, and if you looked at even when the expansion first came out, there were hundreds of thousands of people on every time you went to play. And I remember about 6 months ago going to jump on, and I was on like on a Saturday night. I was not going out, felt like playing, and I don't think there was more than 25,000 people on.
Yeah, I think they're tempering their expectations well. They're managing them
Yeah.
well. I think what would help. I think the league is what's tying into this is if they can really tap into esports, make it a little bit more mainstream as far as Overwatch, so some good matches that'll make people like. For example, I love Street Fighter Five. Play a lot of Street Fighter Five, but nothing gives me an itch to play Street Fighter Five more than watching good Street Fighter Five matches. And I want to start playing. Same thing with Smash, all that stuff. So yeah,
You know,
it's a lot of fun, but you got to have good people to play with.
yeah,
When I say good, not necessarily skill level, just fun people to play with.
yeah. I was gonna say because I'm horrible at that game, so I'd be like the worst person to play
All right, so I don't play with you.
with.
But
God, I hate
yeah. Okay, moving forward. 2 days ago, it was Mass Effect Day, November 7th.
you. Mass Effect.
N7, yes. I did not watch the cinematic trailer.
Well, you're stupid.
The reason why is because I don't want to watch it
Because you're
until the game
stupid.
comes out.
Because you're stupid.
Did you see it?
You're stupid.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Um, don't tell me anything about it. Okay? We're not even talking about it.
It's gonna be amazing.
What? See, okay.
And you're stupid.
What makes you say that?
Because I watched the trailer.
See, this is what I'm telling people. I'm not gonna go back and find this in our back catalog, but I ask you guys constantly. You guys are hyped for Mass Effect, and like, no, I'm not. I'm like, okay, watch. You guys are gonna get hyped about it, and I always have faith in it. And you know why I had faith in it? You should appreciate this now, Giggles. I almost called you by your real name. It's because you finally played Dragon Age Inquisition. And knowing after playing that, are you worried at all about Mass Effect?
Not as much.
So why do you say as much? Because I thought Dragon Age Inquisition.
Was it incredible? Yes.
Yeah, and if they can do now, keep in mind Mass Effect and Dragon Age, those two franchises, even though they're both BioWare franchises, they are treated extremely differently. There were certain cases in, I guess it was more or less in all of them, but in Dragon Age 1 and 2, I saw, you had the dialogue trees and everything like that. But for me, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 were very clearly part of one big trilogy, while Dragon Age, the events that happened in 1 and 2 and Inquisition are so far apart from each other. There are more or less, references to decisions you have made and stuff like that. Plus, span over a couple different console generations, and they did this. Was it the Dragon Keep or whatever? You can pull in your decisions.
Well, and a big part of it is the fact that with all right, so it kind of going back just a few moments to when you said there are games that are they're both treated incredibly well by BioWare, but they're both treated completely different. And like, for example, they are made by the same company, obviously, so you can see a lot of the similarities between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, I don't ever feel that when I play, for example, a Mass Effect game, I'm like, oh, this is Dragon Age in space.
Right.
I don't ever
Neither
feel
do
that
I.
way. Right.
Yeah.
Which means that although they have a lot of similarities, they're very different games.
And this is my point.
And
Wait, real quick. My point is, do you consider Dragon Age Inquisition a worthy follow up to Dragon Age 2, where they have learned from their mistakes, took the best of both games, and create a solid game out of it? Just for Dragon Age.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel like there's almost no mistakes with Dragon Age 2, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So for me, I feel like, and I'm confident that Mass Effect Andromeda is going to do that for the Mass Effect universe. It's going to feel like a Mass Effect game, and any criticisms that they may have received before from the previous games, as few as they may be, but there are some, I think they would definitely learn from and take care of their business. And I know a lot of people have not. My point is, a lot of people, and I understand to an extent, but a lot of people need trailers to get hyped about something.
Oh, I understand. Keep going.
Say it again.
No. Continue your point. I was going to shout something.
Yeah, for me, I try to pay more attention to the developers and the studios and their progression in the games and how they have changed and evolved. And I'm telling you, the change that Dragon Age Inquisition had from 1 and 2, that's what got me excited for Andromeda, because I know they still don't show much. They showed more of interviews with E3 and whatever, but once I started playing Inquisition, I'm like, wow, if they did this to Dragon Age, and they had all this time. Now, keep in mind, this console generation is a few years old already. They had all this time to work with that and learn from Dragon Age Inquisition and all that stuff. Where I am very excited. I might be over. I'm keeping the bar very high to me, but I'm very excited for Mass Effect Andromeda, and I just think that's why I'm avoiding cinematic trailers. I don't want any of the story to be spoiled, but I'm super, 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 super stoked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say anything about the trailer otherwise that it's obviously it hints at a story. I wouldn't. It's a story trailer, but it doesn't really give you anything about the story.
Okay.
Maybe a few points, but to me, the trailers they have shown is to show that I think they're taking the series in a unique direction. I won't say anything more about that because I don't want to spoil anything for you or anyone else who is in your position.
That's cool.
But it's the uniqueness of that direction that they're taking it in that it's kind of like it's what's giving me hype, and it's kind of like the only thing I can compare it to. So this what I'm saying makes sense is it's like with Uncharted 4 to the what was supposed to be a trilogy.
I see what you're saying.
So it gives me hope because you know me, I don't that type of thing when they do that really really gets me concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they did, remember that whole thing that whole fit I kind of took when they went with Hyrule Warriors, and I was all concerned.
Yeah.
And then that game ended up being incredible. It was an awesome game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed it would be incredible, but yeah, I understand your concerns.
Right, and the fact that once again the uniqueness I'll say of the direction that they seem to be taking it made me very interested and intrigued. Which in turn gets me excited because it just feels so different.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say about that because I don't want to spoil anything.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm very excited. One thing I've been holding out on because it's been a while since I've played the original trilogy was any news. Same thing I did with BioShock. Any news of them doing remasters? And then I realized I did more research, and I forgot where I read it. Peter Moore, who I think is one of the higher ups, if not the head of EA now. I think he kind of went on record saying they don't do remasters. And now that I think about it, like that kind of makes sense because they never remastered Dragon Age 1 or 2. Um, but on uh, Mass Effect Day, or is it Bioware Day? I don't even know what it's called. Mass Effect 2 and 3 were officially backwards compatible on the Xbox One. So I somehow already had credit for Mass Effect 1 digitally. I must have bought it digitally, I don't remember. But I purchased the original trilogy in the trilogy pack, the 360 one. It should be coming in soon. I think I'm going to replay the original trilogy again. But one thing I regret is never played the original Citadel DLC, so I want to make sure I play it this time. I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to get into that. Those games are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're incredible. It, obviously it's still half a year away, but E3, I am praying um for a
Wait,
uh
did they give a release date? I could have sworn it said Q1.
no,
Oh,
no, no. I'm saying for Dragon Age.
oh, oh,
After
ooh,
finally
they
being
could tease it.
Dragon Age,
Yeah.
that would be, and I think it would be an incredible time. And the fact that they're finishing up with, uh, obviously this was Mass Effect. That I imagine that would be the time that they would roll out maybe a simple teaser,
Yeah.
just to, just to piss me off and get me angry.
Um, which brings me to this would be a nice segue into the main thing I wanted to talk about. Before I get into that, are there any other little news tidbits that you'd like to get into?
Well, I didn't get to say anything last time because I wasn't really around, but Nintendo Switch
Yeah,
is going to be the greatest thing I hope ever. I hope it puts Nintendo so far on the map that I can't stand it.
I hope so too,
I
man.
just,
I
I
really
just,
hope so.
I've missed the last couple of podcasts, so I have to sneak that in there, and put my 2 cents in that my expectations for this are so high, which almost scares me. But the trailer got me so hyped. Um,
He's a
I
trailer.
just, I just want to pick up that game, play Super Smash Brothers, and beat you, and just hit you in the face with it because I can, and then go home and play it again on my TV.
You know, for the record, that's really the only way you can beat me with Smash is to literally beat me with the Smash game. An actual, it could be a screen of the Smash game. You're gonna up B me. I know how much you like to go up some Bs. Okay.
I be so hard.
Um, yeah, I'm as cautious. I'm as concerned about it as I am optimistic about the Switch. Um, there's still several big concerns I have. I'm still gonna get it. I'm still gonna support it. I love Nintendo. I'm just so afraid they're going to put themselves in a very similar situation they did before. Um,
I'll tell you right now. I know that we want to talk about. We have other things to talk about, but real quick, my only concern, flat out, is and I don't know if this is what you were gonna say, but the fact that a lot of the games that they're showing and showcasing with it are games that are already out or remasters, which has me concerned. I think that
yeah, well, I think a lot of the I'm expecting again this speculation, everyone. I'm expecting they're gonna have Wii U ports, or expanded ports because they did have the Boo in the Mario Kart. So I think they're gonna have an expanded version of Mario Kart 8 with extra characters or whatever. Which I understand. It would be nice to have a nice beefy library for people who miss out on the Wii U. My honestly, my major concern is the cosmetics. I do not like how it looks at all. But I think I
really.
did show you. I think I sent it to everyone. Remember that NES version of it that somebody showed?
Oh, I think you did send that to me.
Yeah, that looked awesome. And if it looks exactly how the Switch did in the trailer, then I'm gonna have to customize mine because I know people a lot of people don't want it to look like a toy. To me, that's my Nintendo, so I need to change it up. personally.
I'll tell you, and I meant to say this to you before, but I wanted to say it to you in a podcast. I honestly feel like this would be the perfect moment to release a new Metroid.
Yeah, yeah, I think it would be good too.
It just smells right.
But I think I need to know more. I'm repeating what I said before, but just for you, I need to know more about its UI. I need to know more about their online community. I would like chat rooms. I would like chat would be nice. A better net code would be great. What I'm concerned about is because I think the Skyrim they showed was. I know it hasn't been officially announced, and I know it might just be for concept. But the Skyrim they showed was the original one. It was not the remaster. It was the original one, from what I understand.
Oh, was it that?
Yeah,
I thought it was the remaster.
I
To be
don't.
honest with
I
you.
don't think so. But I just feel like I don't think it's gonna be. And it's gonna get into the next thing I want to talk about. I just feel like this is gonna be underpowered, and they're gonna be underpowered again for the next generation. But the thing is, I don't know all the specs yet, so that's what I'm waiting for, um, as far as resolution and stuff like that.
I could have sworn, and I don't know who. I believe it was someone from Nintendo, and don't quote me on this. I'd have to go back and check my sources, but I remember hearing because that was kind of a concern because traditionally Nintendo the last couple generations have been severely underpowered
Yeah.
compared to its counterparts, and um, I heard, and maybe it was in one of the press conferences or something within the days following of the announcement that it is supposed to have the same power as the current gen system.
And that brings me to the next point,
Oh, go for it.
which is
Brush.
tomorrow being released for everybody is a PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, for the record, I am going to bite the bullet. I'm going to pick one up.
I'm gonna buy one.
I'm excited. I'm going to go over the reasons for everybody why I'm excited, and you could do so too. But just in the conversation, context of what we're having here, the PS4 Pro coming out tomorrow, Scorpio, whatever it's going to be finally called, end of next year. And now you're telling me the Switch is when they announced it was on par with the current consoles, they were talking about the original Xbox One and the original PlayStation 4.
Yep.
And now I think more recent news is like, well, technically it's a little bit less power than those, at least graphical, horsepower behind it. Um, I don't know, and I'm leaning towards doubt it. I don't know if this is gonna have 4K compatibility unless the dock itself has extra processing that I'm unaware of. And it would be smart if they did that. But the thing is, okay, so for those who don't know, the PlayStation 4 Pro used to be codenamed Neo, PlayStation 4 Neo. Um, it's from what I understand, the engineers at Sony, Mark Cerny specifically, they have pretty much worked a lot just to get the architecture of the system down. The PlayStation 4 Pro, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, I don't care, is physically bigger than the PlayStation 4. Um, from what I have heard, it does run quieter and cooler, which is nice. But that thing is beefy. It's heavier, and you're telling me the Switch, not you, Giggles, but I mean, you're telling me the Switch, at least just in the screen that you take with you, or ideally in whatever's docked with it can offer 4K compatibility. And this is what I'm so worried about, is this is what I mean by Nintendo really shooting themselves in the foot. The timing is what they need to work on, because I feel like by the end of next year 4K TVs and HDR TVs are going to be, well, HDR could be software patch I think, but 4K TVs are going to be a lot more mainstream, not the mainstream yet, but at that point. And then now I'm trying to picture, okay, well, if I hook up a Switch to a 4K TV, how is that going to look if the most it can output is 1080p? You know, and that's the thing for me. I just wish, I understand Nintendo, if you're listening, I understand why you're doing this. I just wish you just waited a little bit longer just to make sure you had everything down, because now remember, there were rumors that this is going to be able to support VR in the future, and then I could have sworn, or speculation 4K, but I'm starting to doubt it because
No,
the more portable that thing is, you're gonna have to make concessions. You're gonna have to.
they
And
they they said that it was going to run up to full 1080p.
okay, so that's what I'm most worried about. Um, yeah, but either way, so I'm very surprised. Not surprised, but I'm very excited. You said you are gonna get a PS4 Pro.
Yeah, I plan on getting one. I didn't realize, to be honest, I thought I had more time before it came out, so
I'm
I'm
pretty
gonna
sure
have to
you.
go.
I don't think they're gonna sell out. I mean, this is such a niche thing, you know. Um, but let me explain why for people what I'm very excited. So for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna be as concise about this as possible because I think if you're listening to this, you probably know this. Um, PlayStation 4 Pro pretty much is just a more powerful PlayStation 4 with a few extra but significant bells and whistles, assuming you have the gear to take advantage of them. Um, Ideally, or most notably, the 4K output, as well as you can't even say HDR support anymore because all PlayStation 4s do that. But there's extra. There's a whole other GPU core, and from what I understand, uh, they have also okay. Frozen would know more about this than I would, but the original PlayStation 4 has whatever its cores are. I don't know, but all of its RAM were in one particular package, of which the games and the UI, the firmware, both shared from that package. And it made sense when I did more research on this because with my PlayStation 4, I would notice if I'm switching games or I'm doing something graphically intensive, um, if I were ever to go to the menu, it would be a little choppy, right? It would be a little
Hmm.
slow. And I now know because of all the research I've done, it's because sharing the same RAM. But from here, from what I understand, there are 8 gigs of what is it, DDR? I'm thinking Dance Revolution is DDR5 RAM specifically dedicated for I think the GPU for graphics performance. And then there's a whole separate 1 gig RAM DDR3 or whatever the three is, specifically for firmware and other tasks for applications or whatever. So I've heard this is something. It's small, but to me it's big. The UI feels very snappy and a lot more responsive. It doesn't slow down as much, if at all. So I'm very excited for. Um, I do not have a 4K TV. Do you?
No, I don't.
I need to do. That's a whole minefield of like just trying to figure out, um, not just price but performance and latency with the HDR and gaming mode or whatever. But the there are a few reasons why I definitely want to get a PS4 Pro. In no particular order, boost in performance and speed of just the UI. I'm looking forward to. Second, I realize I if I were to do the opposite order of getting a 4K TV and then getting everything else to fit the 4K, it would suck to have a 4K TV and play 1080p stuff upscaled, right? Where I
Hmm.
would rather get everything under the hood 4K capable. So by the time I do get a 4K TV, it all works right away, you know? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I just have feeling that overall performance, how things look, I mean, is naturally just going to be better. The fact I believe it has a larger storage capacity, does it not?
oh, yeah, that's true. 1 terabyte. I put a two
Right.
terabyte hard drive in my PS4, and I'm going to immediately put that in the PS4 Pro. 1 terabyte's cool and all, but I really enjoy 2 terabytes more. Twice as much,
Yeah,
I'd say.
I mean, but to me, I'm already at the point where, like, for example, I digitally downloaded the special edition Dragon Age with all the DLC,
It's a pain in the butt
and
deleting and re-downloading and deleting.
right,
Yeah.
and well, what was annoying was it took up so much memory on my storage that like I had to spend a good 15 minutes before it all finished downloading just deleting other things.
Yeah. And then you have to pick and
So
choose.
right, and the difference is I don't want to, you know, we all do this. We're all huge video game fans. We get excited as soon as something comes out. We buy it so we get the special edition and all this stuff. And I end up having sometimes, just like we've all been going back and playing games we haven't beat yet. 3 or 4 games maybe at a time.
Yeah.
And the problem is that it really becomes just a giant pain in the butt when I want to just, oh, you know what? Let me jump on this real quick. Oh, wait, I gotta re-download this stupid patch because I don't have enough memory.
Yeah, the worst offender is Destiny. Man, every patch of we're talking about like patches or updates. I'm not even talking about the big updates like Rise of Iron. You'll get something that's at 8 gigs, 10 gigs. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there better be like a secret game they put on there that didn't tell us about
Right.
all the stupid stuff we had it down.
The yeah, for those of you for the PS4, the original one, it is pretty fairly simple. I'm not too well versed in any type of modding or hardware um, changes, but it is pretty simple to install a higher capacity hard drive into your PS4 since they don't allow for external hard drives to expand memory. Um, so you could do it. I mean, the hard drive I use, there's a bunch of. You check out Digital Foundry. They have a really good tutorial for it. Cost me about $80 to get to 2 terabytes. And I'm telling you, Giggles, once I did that, oh, it was so nice. It's just, yeah, I'll download it. Not a big deal. Yeah, download this. And then with the folder organization, it was awesome. But 1 terabyte, you could still get a lot of nice stuff without having to pick and choose. I think you're really gonna enjoy that. Um,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go pick it up. It's time to upgrade, and I look forward to it.
for me, other things I'm very excited about are okay. So let's talk about performance wise. So again, I only have a 1080p TV. So what they do, for those who don't know, um, a lot there are a lot. Okay, this is what I understand. The PS4 Pro, in an effort to only keep it $400 cost, so otherwise they could have gone to town with it, but it would cost like $500-600, and I think they learned from the PS3's launch to not do that. From what I understand, at least with the way things are now, for fairly beefy games, it is unrealistic to expect native 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. So they're saying usually, for I guess for the average game, um, expect you know if you can get native 4K, you think hope for maybe 30 frames per second or whatever for a AAA game, and I'm using quotes. That's what they say. But what they do is, yes, you have a lot of GPU, a lot more resources of which you can use to boost the performance of your game in one way or another. But Sony kind of leaves it up to the developer of what they want to do. Hey, do you want to increase the resolution? Do you want to increase the performance? A mixture of the two? What do you want to do? That's pretty cool. Um, the idea is what they technically do, and a lot of people have been complaining about this, but these are people that never seen it. And then, but I'm listening to the reviews that are coming out now, and Digital Foundry, check them out again. They're part of Eurogamer, but they kind of know what the crap they're talking about. Um, on paper, they say that okay, a lot of people be like, "There's, this chipset is barely built for 4K performance," but then they say when they actually saw it in motion, it was very impressive. And the upscaling technique that they do, how much of this have you looked into?
Um, I honestly read 2 articles, maybe three on it in the past like month, so I
Okay,
wouldn't. I would nowhere near say I'm an expert on any of this
all right.
or knowledgeable for that matter.
So let's go back about a half decade or so, or maybe a decade actually. When HD was starting to become a thing, one thing I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure you were put in the same position, is when you got your first HD TV and you play DVDs, right? You put a DVD in a Blu-ray player. This phenomenon, this little thing, upscaling happened, where they made the DVD looked manageable and watchable, but it looked blurry and right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people were scared or skeptical because they're still using the word upscaling here. But the old upscaling, from what I understand, was you have more pixels to work with, more real estate. So they pretty much, let's say, a brown dot, a brown pixel, um, on a standard definition, or maybe 720p or whatever, 480p technically, I guess. When you upscale it, they just maybe multiply it to the size of 8 pixels or whatever. So that
Mm-hmm.
used to be the size of like 1 pixel or whatever. So that's why things tend to look blurry. And so a lot of people assume that's what they're doing with the PS4 Pro. But apparently, and this is what is such a big deal that a lot of people don't understand, is the upscaling here is a completely different technology, and there are different sources where you can get up to, I want to say, I don't know, I'm guessing, I'm pulling this out of my butt. Let's say 80% of native 4K, they can upscale it
Mm-hmm.
to that perfectly, and then no, get it to that first, render it that way, and then upscale it to 4K by, I think the most common one they're using now is something called checkerboarding upscaling, where instead of just multiplying the size of each pixel to fit more pixels,
Mm-hmm.
they it's almost like real time render. The console guesses very accurately, from what I understand, what pixels they would have put in the new blank spots from upscaling, as if they did render in native 4K. And so what a lot of people are saying is, so these are pixels that were never there before, not just being magnified. They're being put into the picture, interlaced, to the point where a lot of people, for the most part, cannot tell the difference between native 4K and the upscaled version unless you pause it and you're very close and you are really trying to investigate where the little artifacts are of upscaling or whatever. So apparently, it's extremely impressive. They also have something called temporal injection, which, from what I understand, they use a few frames before, and the console tracks where certain shapes are, and based off the last few frames, they look at the trajectory of the shape,
Mm-hmm.
and they predict where it will be next, and they use that to for upscaling too. Um, a lot of people just say it's very, very impressive. But the thing is, I'm not going to get a 4K TV soon. So the biggest question is, what about people with 1080p, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here's my question: have you ever dealt with imaging software before, ever?
A long time ago.
Okay, so here's a question. Let's say you have something like, crap, I don't know, something, I don't know what I was going to talk about. Let's say you have you bring in some clip art into a particular program, right?
Uh-huh.
And unless it's vector based, from what I understand, uh, do you know what happens when you typically stretch out or try to make that image bigger?
It will blurries it, or it
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know the technical term. I just know it blurries it or it fogs it.
Okay. What if you did the opposite, where you dragged into the program a very, very high resolution image and then you try to make that smaller? Do you know what would happen?
No, I couldn't.
Okay, so a lot of the crispness gets retained from the high resolution one. So what ends up happening with the PS4 Pro, if you have a 1080p TV, it does depend on developer, for the record, is your PlayStation 4 Pro still renders the game at 4K or whatever is close to 4K for that game. And then, so that's like pulling in a very high resolution image into that program and then shrinks it down to 1080p. So any of the
Hmm.
benefits with anti-aliasing, which tries to remove the stair-stepping effects of diagonal lines that are pixelated, um, all that is actually retained, and they call that super sampling. And this is why I wanted to talk about Tomb Raider, because from what I understand, Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4 um, uses that very, very well. And once I heard about that, I have Rise of the Tomb Raider. I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting for the PS4 Pro. And apparently, it looks. You got to be looking for it though. If you have to look for little things, but it does look substantially better than just playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PS4. So that's why I've been waiting, and that's why I don't
Hmm.
want you to say anything about the story because I haven't played any of it yet. I'm very excited to play it though.
I mean, you should be, but you know, here's the thing. I think we're getting to a point where it's like, you can, when you play a game, right? You appreciate little things that little Easter eggs that they put in, and little things like, like you're like, oh, did you see that there? This is a tip, hats off to this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And as we develop software in the last really 10 years, graphics, our ability to enhance the image, to make it look cleaner, smoother, faster, has I mean, exponentially improved. And now that they're with this whole thing, I mean, I want a PS4 Pro because I feel like the computing power and what it could do, and the games they could produce on that type of system, there should be a clear difference in my mind between those games
Mm.
and just the regular game, because of what they can do on the screen, the power of the engine, the power now of the programs they use to develop games and things like that, the software. And but my thing is, sometimes I feel like, especially when, when they first got to 1080p, right? I don't know about you, but I remember like it was Black Friday, and I think I was up till 5:30 in the morning trying to find a good deal on a TV that was 120 hertz, and it was 120 hertz, and it was 1080p, because that was like the best. If you played on that, it was gonna look incredible
I
to
was
like
very late
anything
to the
you'd play.
1080p party.
See, I jumped on very early. And I remember getting a Blu-ray. I remember getting my DVD. And I'll tell you right now, from a VHS to a DVD was huge. Like, I remember sitting there going, oh my god, this looks so much clearer. And I even remember there being a bit of a jump when I got the Blu-ray. And now I feel like we've gotten so intense that it's like, if I have to go looking because I'll notice the difference, I don't know how much that matters to me right now.
Oh, yeah, but let me just put it this way. That's if you playing on a 1080p TV. From what I understand, if you watch on a 4K TV, especially with HDR, it's the same jump that you saw going from standard definition 1080p.
And to be honest, that's why I kind of want to, like, I can't wait to get one. And then I do eventually, I'll upgrade to a 4K TV. And I think that that's when that will really matter to me, because that's when I'll see the biggest difference.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, the couple big reasons why I want to get a 4K. I am an early adopter. I don't think that's a shock to anyone. But I the games that are coming out in the next 2 months, Final Fantasy 15 and Last Guardian, there have been rumors that they were gonna run slow or something. I want to make sure that I have the best possible way to play it, at least performance wise.
That's why they delayed Last Guardian again, right?
I didn't know that. Makes
Yeah.
sense. But
They
oh, you
just
mean like
delayed
is it
it
running
to,
slow?
for whatever reason, they delayed it to, like, I think May of next year or something, or
What?
they're like
No,
5 months. Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
dude. I swear to God, I thought it was early December. Do not do this to me.
No, it's like June.
Are you messing with me right now? Giggles.
No, I'm serious.
Why are you smiling? Are you messing with me?
I'm totally messing with you.
You mofo.
Because you
I
know what? The anxiety that you just generated from this one moment is gonna go over for at
Hey man, I'm
least
gonna
the
break your
day.
face. How about that? I'm gonna break your face.
I just
Anyway,
needed to
so
do that.
man, so anyway, look,
It's the
those
greatest
games are
podcast ever.
monumental, right?
Agreed. Absolutely.
Historically, I mean, they both have been in development for close to a decade, if not at least a decade. Maybe in Final Fantasy's case, I want the first time I play that to be as smooth as it can be, and that's probably a big reason why, and also the apparent benefits of playing PlayStation VR. It really helps out with the Pro as well. Again, it is up to the developers. Not all games are PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced yet, but from what everyone's been saying is that the ones that are, a good chunk of them are very impressive, even on a 1080p TVs. And so from this point on, all first party Sony games are going to be PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced, as well as a lot of the new games coming out. And I just want to enjoy them the best I can 1080p TV. And then, hey, the day that I get a 4K TV, I don't have to worry about 4K content. I already got that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that like uh, for games like Final Fantasy, I want the best picture I can have because those games are just designed to be beautiful. They're designed to be lookers. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The gameplay is phenomenal. It's supposed to be, but you play those games because of how amazing the world inside that those characters live is. And like Destiny 2, which is another E3 hopeful that I have, uh, like with how stunningly visual and beautiful that one was, just Destiny was, like I think that what they'll make it look like and what they'll be able to do on the screen and things that they'll be able to have with Destiny 2 will just be outright insane.
When Destiny 2 comes out, I'm definitely going to have a 4K TV by then.
Yeah.
Because if they don't do that, at least 4K capable, screw that. Can you imagine that with HDR? That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think by that point, I mean, I honestly, and not to get off topic, but I expect Destiny 2 to probably be announced at E3. I'm very, very strong believer that it will be, and
For
I'm
the record,
confident.
I'm pretty confident that Bungie went on record saying they were not going to do any PlayStation 4 Pro enhancements for the first Destiny. And I think Mark Cerny went on record to say it technically just takes 1% more of work or time to enhance that for PlayStation 4 Pro. But I would rather them work on Destiny 2 than worry about making Destiny 1 look better. I like how Destiny 1 looks right now.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, and I kind of feel like they're going to be winding down with Destiny 1 as they get ready to announce Destiny 2,
Yeah.
and I, it, but like I said, I didn't mean to get off topic, but like for games like that, because I feel like there's so much more they can do. It's kind of like when they announced CryEngine, and they announced Unreal 4. Like the things that they could do on screen and the computer powering that they have, and I remember I'm trying to think. I think it was one of the Dark Souls games. Don't quote me on it, but they were like it was like they were talking about if you notice like the embers coming off fire and like how realistic they could make it look.
Mm.
And I don't know if you know, there's a game that just come out I want to actually play. It's like something Robinson. I'm trying to remember the name of the game. It's kind
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, that's to be delivered to me tomorrow.
okay. I that trailer for that game, it just looks amazing, and for the fact that I don't think it's a very large game, but it's supposed to be. It looks so good, and I just watched the trailer. And it looks so beautiful that it made me play.
I don't think you could play it. Let me just double check because
It said I could buy it on my PS4.
n- no, I don't think you'll be able to play it.
It
Yeah,
was on
it's
sale.
a VR game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, well then I probably won't play it
yeah,
because I don't like.
it's a VR game, and that's actually one that a lot of people are saying. That and Farpoint are saying the PlayStation 4 Pro is really going to help out visually too. Yeah, I've been looking
Well,
forward to that. For some reason, I don't know why, man, but on the PlayStation Store, Robinson the Journey is $60, but on Amazon it's 40. I don't understand why. It's strange.
they've been doing that lately. Like for example, Titanfall 2 on Amazon. If you had Amazon Prime, you could get for $48. Whereas if you buy it through the store at a GameStop, it was. I
No,
don't know how
oh no 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 no
Amazon's been
yeah,
working that
oh,
out.
no. Amazon Prime for new games drops 20% off typically if you pre-order or get it within the first 2 weeks. I'm saying the MSRP is $40, and then I'm actually getting it
Uh,
for 31 or $32 because of the extra 20% off. I just found that strange because I've never seen Amazon do that before. I thought maybe somebody messed up, but either way, um,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm very 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 excited. The thing is, man, I'm trying to back up the memory again. I've had some experience getting 2 terabyte because I gotta. For those who don't know, it is actually pretty simple to transfer memory from your PS4 to your PS4 Pro. Apparently, they have to be connected to the same. One way to do it is to connect them to the same network, and I think they both either have to be wirelessly connected or they're both hardwired connected to the same router. You can just transfer it that way. The problem is I'm trading in my old one, to go towards the PS4 Pro, which means, and I don't want to get rid of PT, and the fact that my PS4 is a 2 terabyte, I have to put the 500 gig back in there, and I have to be very careful, otherwise I'm going to lose PT, because I want that 2 terabyte. And you can't just pull the hard drive out of one PS4, put it in another PS4, because every time you put a new hard drive in a PS4, it formats it right away. So I'm going to be working on that. But yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, apparently it's quieter too. That's kind of nice. And a USB port in the back. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
There's a third USB port. I don't know why Sony never put a USB port in the back. The reason why is because for PlayStation VR, you need to have a USB port, a USB connection. And so I have a cable coming in from the back attaching to the front. It's ugly as crap. But I think they have it back there for PlayStation VR, which is kind of nice. So I'm excited.
Cool.
Yep. Either way, I don't have a question of the week. I actually had all time to think of it. And didn't.
Well, it's okay. It's all right. We, let's just say we're excited. And less than 3 weeks from now, officially, Final Fantasy 15 comes out.
Oh, yeah.
So, whatever games you have, beat them now, because your life is basically over in less than 21 days.
It's going to be crazy. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm stocking up on food now, because I don't think I'm going to leave my room. Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was it for this episode of the Brainal Podcast. Frozen usually does his part, but I'm going to start talking about some stuff. And I'm going to say, if you want to check us out, we have a YouTube channel. We have some videos we'd like for you guys to check out. And we try to do this every week. Check us out on Stitcher, on iTunes, for the podcast, that is. Shout Engine, even though I could have sworn Frozen said not to say that, but I think he says that now. We have a website, Brainal.net, that I don't think is ever going to get overhauled because we just tend to put more work into the podcast or YouTube. You're kind of seeing behind the scenes. You guys are seeing how the sausage is made. And for those who don't know, I don't know if you just heard
it's
that.
Such a good
kind of
sausage.
went Christopher Walken there. I was sick this past weekend, and I tend to talk like Christopher Walken. Like, hey! Just talking like this. But either way, we're going to stop this right now, and I will talk to you guys later. On behalf of Brainal.net, I'm Jepi Condile.
I'm Mr. Giggles.
And I'm still not friends with you. I was hoping it would change.
You still suck at Smash.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
You got lucky one time, people. Lucky. One time. He upbeat me.
He's just a sore loser.
I'm acknowledging it.
No, you're a sore loser, and it was more than one.
Look, was it really more than one time? Be honest.
It was more than one time.
Are you lying right now?
No, I'm not lying right now.
Hey, can you do me a big favor? Can you not lie? That'd be great.
Listen, why don't you go look up when The Last Guardian comes out, since you're definitely going to be concerned about it.
Week 1 of December. 16.
You've definitely already checked.
You're full of lies. I think your name isn't even Mr. Giggles. All right, everyone, take care.
Have a great night, guys. I hate you.
Peace.
Cheers.